and today I would like to talk about emotions, the relationships between people, and the importance of controlling your emotions. When I was 7 years old, I applied for elementary school. It was first A class in school lyceum number 38, and at that time, I felt that studying at school is not so cool and fun because my photos in there, I was not very happy there. And when all other children were with a smile on their face and with a bouquet of flowers, like in their hands, I stood there with such a sour face, and if I was forced to go there, and I had no idea back and these times that I would share my best year of my life, mix it with a bunch of funny and sometimes even dangerous stories with my classmates and other guys from my school. Most of my friends almost do not remember their classmates and do not even communicate with them as they graduated from school. I am grateful to the fate that I did not have such classmates as most of my friends and relatives. We haven't stopped communicating after so long, and of course, not all my classmates still keeps in touch with each other, but we also try to come together from year to year and just gather together and spend great nights walking until nightfall. And now everyone has grown up. We graduated from school and each one entered to his desired university. We keep our traditions every year, and our adventures become more and more interesting because we all grow and our interests become wider. And this year we uh, we are going to Almaty with huge company of close friends, and we will spend there a whole week. We have already managed to go there, to go to Barawe in some way with a big company of friends, and also returned without incident. And a couple of our friends drove an ATV and speed 60 kilometers per hour, and with zero visibility due to dust, and into a large stretch there was a really big hole, and a friend got bruises of all of his body and smashed his head on the panel of ATV, and we drove behind them and started to help him. Then, of course, it was terrifying to watch all this, and everyone was scared, but he seemed to feel okay. He told us, yes, everything is fine, uh, go there, and everything is fine with me, but uh, we thought that not everything was in order, and that he was bleeding all over his face, and uh, it was sincerely fun to ride ATVs, but after this incident, everyone had a double impression after riding ATVs, and everyone realized that riding them is certainly fun, but also is very dangerous. And then, at the age of 7, in the first grade, we did not realize that we had found an idea that in 20 years would become the foremost thought of the scientific revolution and would like change our view of the human cycle. And we found the main idea of positive psychology, friendship, and this is why I'm standing here today, and this is why I wake up every morning. And I don't know how the trip to Almaty will go, but we all really like it Barawe, and my friends and I hope that morning will prevent us from having a great time and having a good holidays in nature and in a large city of youth. And I'm very lucky to be friend with my classmates, and I think we have a good relationship with each other, and this is a special kind of connection, and not just a friendship. We have been like in so many situations that I have already lost count, and we can say that we have become like relatives, and we have each other back till the end, no matter that what the situations it will be. And no wonder they say that Kazakhs has many relatives. Let me tell you one of the most recent situations. And do you remember that I said at the beginning that our company and I love to take walk until the morning, and so it was a normal day. We well like a day. It was already about 1:30 p.m. and as usual we arrived at the triathlon park to play basketball with the other guys. If I ask it, how often do you play basketball with your friends in the middle of the night? I think others would say, would answer to my questions like, who is involved in an active sport in the middle of the night? And I think this is how you can roughly understand how much we love to go out and to do something and to play basketball at night or right around the city until the morning. For us it's not a big problem, and after all, when all the friends with whom you studied and graduated from school are with you and you do not want to go home, and absolutely does not matter how many hours you are there at the clock. And now on the clock it's already somewhere around 4 o'clock, and in the morning we all are exhausted and but so satisfied after playing basketball, and we began to get ready to go to home, and we rode two cars, and friend who lived on the left side of the city gave ride to everyone who lives on this side, and those who live near our school on the right side of the city drove home with another friend, and everything was fine. We drove our first friend home, and on the way we stopped at the like 24 hours supermarket to get a drink, and we took soda and tea and stood there on the supermarket parking, and we talked to each other, discussed the game, and we had a, we had played and sat in the car, and here we are sitting in a started car and see a patrolling police car that was going very slowly and stopped in a traffic light next to the supermarket and where we was. At first everyone just looked at the car and didn't pay much attention, and the traffic light turned green and the police car slowly turned into another street and drove away, and we finished drinking our soda and like drove out of parking lot to take another friend who lives near the school where we studied. And so we go and turn into the alley that led to the school, and as if the same patrol car appears from nowhere and starting like honking us to stop, and my friend of mine who was driving finished driving school but never got a driver's license, and you should have seen his face because, and all of us, because we were aware that he had no documents, and then he offered me as a person who has a driver's license, and he has like talk a crazy idea, like, bro, let's change places, and if like you were driving. I said okay, and he like continued to move along the narrow lane for some time while the police patrol car was honking to us non-stop, and then we absolutely turns into the country yard and turns off the car and starts jumping in the back row on seats, and when he jumped he got stuck and with his foot and could not jump back to the back, and because of which we lost time. When he like moved back, I wanted to do the same, just jumping to the front driver's seat. I did not make it in time, and all I managed to do though was see how far the police are from us, and he was already very close to our car and ran to the driver's side, and I did not begin to switch, and the following picture turned out like everyone is sitting in their seats. The three of us are sitting in the back, and our fourth friend sit on the passenger seat, uh, and both there was no sitting on the driver's seat, and policeman comes to like running like American films with a uh, like holds his hand in special belt where the pistol was in nearly, and walks to our like window, and if you look from the outside it was so funny because but at that moment we were not like logging, and it's almost like 5 a.m. and the policeman who came to our window sees all of us but does not see the driver behind the wheel, and he is like perplexed and cannot understand what's happening, and for a long time without understanding he tells to us like in Kazakh, uh, go out, and we realized that we got in trouble and now there will be consequences, and the policeman took us out of the car, and one of them asks who was driving the car, and there was silence and all around this place, like he asked again who was driving the car, and some point I said our, and two policemen did not understand what's happening and who was driving the car, and after all he just they said like give me your documents, and we gave a personal ID card to, and they identify our personalities on the tablet, and apparently they found out in the information about me first, and they thought like I have a driver license, and the other documents came out, and then one of the police officers partner said like there was on the driving and pointing at me, and I was silent, and the first says to me like let's go to the car, and they said in the front seat, and my other friends like dispersed and told to go home, and they circled around the car for a long time and asked to let me go, but in response they simply closed the window, and one of the policemen like got behind a friend's car, and we just left, and he said that I allegedly violated the traffic rules and did not like turn the headlights, and although I remember exactly how my friend like turned it on the headlights, and we were driving with the headlights on, and I think that they just looking for an excuse to stop us, and we are like young and not inexperienced. Surely everyone already has no idea or how police works in Kazakhstan. I talked to the chief and asked where we were going, and in response he said that they were going to the like impoundment, and which was very far from my house. I realized that how I definitely the and thought like what to do next, and I asked again how to big the fine, how to big is fine, and how to pay it. In response, he told me that it's not so much, and he need to pay through the Kaspi application. And I asked him like, if you are driving the car, the to the impoundment parking lot, and only the one from whom the car is registered can pick up the car, and the car was not registered to me, and then why do you need me? Like, can you take me to home again? He looked at surprised and probably thought that these young guys don't care about their own car at all. And then he said like, come on, breathe. I breathed and said like that we do not abuse alcohol for a healthy lifestyle. And he drove silently along the road and asked me, why did you jump back? And in the beginning I thought that you were drunk, and I replied that I'm just young and not experienced, and for for me it's just first time where I was in police car. When I was police car, and so that I jumped back. And in response, he scoffed and said, "Yes, this is not even a detention, and you were not stopped for headlines. Check it, and there is not insurance for the car yet." And my friend called to other friends who that drove to home other my friends, and they called to know where I am and if everything is fine. I sent them my geolocation to WhatsApp, and the policeman who drove me asked who called, and I said that it's my friends, and he scoffed again and asked what do they want to decide for you, and in response to this I said no, they just asked where I am, and I was desperate to think about what to do next. And suddenly the partner who was driving in front us stopped it on the side of the road, and our cars stopped behind him, and he just turned off the car and started watching some videos on his phone. And I sat in the like bewilderment and did not understand what's happening. And he asks, well, what an IT specialist, what can you do? I answered well, I can create a website, or I can improve your Instagram, or shoot some video. And response to this, the policeman said, yes, we don't need this. And in that moment, my friend who was in another car drove up to greet policemen, and they said cheerfully well, the boss called the offender, and they louded together, and I wasn't logging with at all, and I was just then glad to see was definitely not to get the impoundment. And the friend answered to the policeman, of course, if you want, I can give it up, and only do you give our friend our, and pointing to me. And they said with a partner and thought about this exchange, and As a result, he reached for my ID, which was on the car dashboard, and handed it to me and said, "Okay, let's take your friend and let's take your friend in the car." And I got out of the car in shock, and my friends and they got in the cars and drove towards from to the school where other our friends were waiting for us, and all my friends were shocked when I told them this story, and we discussed this story for a very long time and logged about it. And a friend who was initially on the driving thanked me and said that I helped him out a lot. So summing up, I want to say that in this life you and your friends have and have had and will have a lot of situations, both funny and difficult at some point, and but everything passes, and then you will remember them with a smile on your face, and um, in a circle of friends. And what matters how you handle yourself in these situations. Our psychology is based on emotions, and uh, how will you handle yourself? Well, such situations as happened for our company had fewer always go with full document, and everything will be well. So thank you very much. Goodbye.